Alright, so Halloween is coming up. I thought I'd make a Halloween-based video on why it's been declining and everything else and show you some of the stuff I've done in the past. Just to give you an idea why I'm disappointed, why Halloween sucks now. Okay, so when I grew up, Halloween was awesome. And here we have one of my Mad Hatter props. Some people might think, well, you're naturally crazy. You don't need that hat. Maybe you're right. But here I have a face mold. This is for a particular character. And there's my face. I covered up the nose. You're not going to get everything. But you can see the eyebrows have gotten beat up. This face mold was made, I think in 2011. Something like that. And it's still holding up to this day. And I don't know if I would use it again because it keeps falling apart and I got to keep doing too much adjustments to it. So, and plus a new updated one might be a little bit better. So, yeah, I used to do stuff like this. And this one actually here was supposed to be for a big contest, and I was going to try to win a big contest. Problem happened with not the creation of the face and the structure. The structure and all that stuff came out really good. The problem was the coloring. The problem was the fact that when you get up on stage, you have no idea how your coloring is going to look. You could look all sorts of different shades of that color. And it could look really fucking messed up. So when I found out about how lighting affects stage coloring, and I had no access to, one guy said to me, he's a professional, he said to me, he's like, well, it's really no problem. He said, just get access to the lighting before you go out there. I said, I don't have access to the lighting. I said, it's, you know, there's no way to predict what you're going to look like on stage. So with that, and there's many other things too, where you have to constantly use glue and get the edges tamped, because on stage what you find out is in these movies they may create these prosthetics, but they have to keep tamping down those edges. Otherwise your edges start peeling up and it shows up on stage. Not that somebody 20-30 yards away could see the edges starting to come away, but you know, you don't want that to happen. So yeah, I used to have a blast with Halloween. I had a blast with Halloween as a kid, had a blast with Halloween as an adult, or young adult I should say. And it's just totally gone to shit now. So last year, I actually left cash on my door. So I was giving out candy, but I had to go to the store to get some stuff. And I literally said to myself, like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to put the whole bowl of candy out there. I said, you know what I'll do? I just came up with a stupid idea. I said, I'll put cash on the door. So I put like folds of $2, like 5 of them. So I think it was like $10 total. I said, please take one per kid. Okay? I came back after about 30 minutes at the store. Nobody took a bit of cash from the door. I didn't see any other kids going around. Some girl came around, like, I think 10 minutes before I went to the store. So I gave her a bunch of candy. I said, is there anybody else out there? She's like, not really. I was like, here, just take a bunch. She had this shocked look like I just dumped like $4 worth of Reese's and Kit Kats into her basket, and I just left cash for the rest of the stragglers just in case anybody came around. So because I did see some kids going over a police officer's house in my neighborhood, but those kids apparently never went around and trick-or-treated. They just do parties now. Whatever, man. People are chicken shits. So such chicken shits that they missed out on cash on the door. If I would have put that fucking cash around back in the 90s, there would have been a note on my door saying, you ran out of money. bring more cash and make it 20s this time. Seriously. Like, that's the way it would have been back when people did Halloween and had some human spirit left. I'll tell you a story about the neighborhood I grew up in and how it went to totally crap. So the neighborhood I grew up in, they used to routinely get 40 kids a night. 40 to 50 was very, very routine. And by the time it was the early 2000s, it was roughly in the 20s. Somewhere between 22, 28, something like that was consistent. 2005, 2006, it started to go downhill. I was in college, living with my mother, and I would still help her do Halloween for the kids. Okay. I don't think she ever got 0, but she started getting less. It was now in like the single digits. From like 2006 to 2008, it was like in the single digits. Okay. And it was starting to approach 0. Like, you were starting to get 5, 6 kids, things like that. It was getting really shitty. And So I think around 2008, 2009, I started coming up with some ideas. And I said, you know what? I should really start coming up with some ideas that can incentivize the kids to actually go around with their friends and, I don't know, see the community together, go on an adventure. It's not just about a bag of candy. It never was for me. It's about having a night out with your friends and being free and having fun. So I came up with some ideas, some theatrics, this kind of stuff, and there's a lot more to it. So I think in 2010, I said, all right, I got an idea. I told my mother, I said, but you're going to have to put in an effort on this too. I said, but we're going to come up with an idea. I came up with the idea of doing like a black light gimmick, okay, where the whole background inside the house would be totally blacked out. You wouldn't see furniture, you wouldn't see anything in there, and you would just see basically what the black light allows you to see, which is usually bright colors like white, yellow, etc., like that. Everything else would be blacked out. And I had a whole other gimmick around it. I'm not going to tell people what it is because I posted this stuff on social media before. I don't want people really knowing who I am. So I came up with this idea, and it took me over 100 hours to put this together for less than $70. I mean, it really killed me to come up with that kind of material for that price because it could have easily cost me over $350 to do. So I finally did it, had it set up, ready to go. Had the background set up. I answered the door first. Two kids show up at the door, basically while it was still light out. They're looking at the background like, the fuck do you have going on here? Like your fucking house has got no house. Like, where's the rest of your house? Like, why is there just nothing but a black background 15 feet back from your door? They didn't say that, but they had this look like they'd never seen anything like that in their life. I said, yeah, so you may want to come back later at night, when this thing's effective. And they just didn't even answer me. They just were so dumbfounded of what they were looking at. They couldn't process it. So the time goes on, me and my mother are just sitting there. And you know what basically happens? Nothing. Nobody else came to the door. No other kids were circulating the neighborhood. That was it. Those were the two kids that went around trick-or-treating. Apparently they didn't get the message that this town doesn't do it anymore. Okay? I've literally seen stuff too happen to where it's almost like a neighbor gets a phone call. Like I've seen neighbors put out stuff, okay, put out a lot of Halloween decorations, and all of a sudden you'll see them like before it even turns 6 o'clock, even when it's still light out, the neighbor will come out, they'll take all their decorations back in. Like somebody gave them a phone call, like the kids aren't coming around this year. Like it's really weird. So the neighborhood got fucking weird. So anyways, I think the year after she got 0 kids, she told me. Okay? 0 fucking kids, I think in 2011. So, moving on to like 2014, I go over her place, and where I used to live as a kid, and basically, I said to her, I said, are you planning on buying extra candy this year? And she's like, no, not really, why? I said, well, because on the way in, I looked around, I said, there's like more houses than ever that have Halloween decorations and things decorating their door, etc., fake pumpkins. I said, because it looks like I've never seen people put this many decorations out, even when I was a kid. And she said, oh, I don't know, I haven't taken much of a trip, around the community to see. I said, yeah, so I don't know. I said, maybe you want to get an extra bag or two. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And she says to me in a condescending manner, she says my name, and she's like, blank, these people do nothing all year round. What makes you think they are going to get up for one day out of the year? I said, well, I don't know. I said, I'm just going based on what I see. You know what happened that year? 0 kids. Nothing. That's it. I mean, this fucking holiday is dead. It's dead everywhere. It's dead where I grew up. It's dead where I live now. It is dead. I mean, the people today are too chicken shit or whatever to even operate functionally anymore. I don't know who they think their fucking neighbors are. People with fake faces. Or, I don't know. I'm sorry I had to throw that in there. But you gotta make fun of such pussiness and stupidity. You really do, man. Okay, I'll tell you another story. When I was a kid, me and my friend were a victim of an attempted kidnapping. And I don't mean like a kidnapping, like, hey kids, come over here. Psst. You know. We were walking up to a store one time. This is back in that neighborhood I told you about where my mother was living. Up until, I think she lived there up till 2015, 16, something like that. So this neighborhood, we were walking up to a grocery store one time. We had some money. We were going to go get some stuff like, sodas or whatever. And so we crossed this bridge, or we are crossing this bridge. Car pulls up on one end of the bridge, in front of us. I told my friend, I said, listen, I don't like the look of that car. I said, let's turn back. As soon as we turn back, a car pulls up on the other end of the bridge. Somebody yells out, don't let him get away, like yells this out. Okay? And we just took off and bolted back into the neighborhood. And they tried to get us, but we jumped, we ran up the hill and took off bolting. I mean, as fast, I never ran that fast in my life. Eventually, I got to a friend's house. I didn't want to go to my house because I didn't know where these people were. I just didn't want to get caught. I didn't even look back over my shoulder. So, how this turns out was, my friend ran to my house. I ran to another person's house, the nearest person that I knew that I could get them to call the cops. And called the police. The kidnappers basically said that, made up some story. They said that we tried to throw stuff at their car, that we tried to throw candy at their car, or some nonsense like that. We've never seen these people in our lives. And the cops were asking us, like, who threw the candy? And we're like, what? Who threw the candy? The person said, yeah, these people have a bag of candy, gummy bears or something like that, and they said, you guys threw the bag at their car. Okay, for anybody who doubts me, think of this. Why would two people be driving along in separate cars, and they're supposedly boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife, and they both happen to come back after us after we supposedly throw a bag of candy at them? Why would they be in separate cars anyways? Think about that. Think about it. Doesn't make any sense. I think the cops started to figure it out too when they settled down, and nobody was arrested that day, nothing. So, guess what happened around Halloween after this attempted kidnapping? We went right back out fucking trick-or-treating. The only difference was when we decided to go out of the town, my grandmother brought me and my friends, same kid with me, that we almost got kidnapped. I wouldn't say almost, because those people didn't even get a hand on us. But we decided to go around some of the bigger communities, and my grandmother basically just, dropped us off at the block, and she would park at the end of the block, and we would go and we'd come back, stuff like that. So, sorry, I got fuzz on my face from all my animals. So we had a crazy idea. We were going to try to bag as much candy as we could, and we failed. We were going to bag a fucking mountain of candy. So gets to the end of the night, my friend says, hey, let's just go to my aunt's house. Can you take us to my aunt's house? And my grandmother's like, well, where's your aunt's house? And he said, oh, it's over here, I'll show you. We go to his aunt's house. She was all cool. She gave us some candy. She let my friend get the mask off the scarecrow or the witch at the door or something like that. So we start walking to some other houses. It's starting to look kind of dead. We're like almost like the only kids out there at like 10 o'clock at night. And I said to my friend, I said, hey, you want to pretend my grandma's the kidnapper? So my grandmother's by his aunt's house, and she's parked in the car. And my friend says, he turns around, he points at my grandma. My grandma's watching. He points at my grandma. He's like, oh no, it's the kidnapper. And he starts running around this person's yard and dives into this total stranger's bushes and stuff. And you see my grandmother flick the lights on. She rolls up and she's like, all right, that's it. Get in the car. It's over. She was kind of annoyed at that point that we're sitting around running from her. I was laughing so fucking hard. I could barely get off the ground. I was laughing so hard. I nearly pissed myself in the fucking car. I had never laughed that hard in my life. My grandmother's totally pissed, and me and my friend are just fucking busting out laughing in the back the whole way home. That's how scared we were of kidnappers. Nothing's gonna fucking stop us from having a good time back then. You know? I don't know if we were just raised feral kids who spent too much fucking time in the woods, too much time running from real kidnappers. I'll finish that off by saying I got banned on an internet forum, I think in 2009, something like that, because I was saying like, how come so few kids go around anymore? And one person said, well, it's the fear of kidnappers and this. I said, listen, dude. I said, the kidnappers tried to get me back in 1980, whatever. I said, they haven't gotten any faster. That's it. Like, and I got banned for saying that the kidnappers aren't shit. So, whatever, man. Whatever. Pussy world, shithole country, whatever you want to call it. I shouldn't say world because I don't think this is going on everywhere. That's it, man. That's my Halloween story for now. I'm going to cut it at 15 minutes. That's it. That's all. Life was too fun back then.